Hi, my name is Nicole Roberts, and for our final project, I decided to do an art project on sexual orientation. I believe that was week 4 or week 5, can't quite remember. But I was originally actually going to do it on the flying unicorn. I thought that was a really cool way to describe the different ways you could think about sex and gender, I guess. But I decided to do it on all the different sexual orientations that we talked about on the presentation because I thought it gave more variety, more opportunity to research and explore some things that I hadn't really heard before, I guess. So what is my project? It was an art project. I was going to do like a collage, but I just decided to do like kind of like a collection of the sexual images, I guess, on sexual orientation. So this is the final project that ended. I was going to do that art collage, but then I was like, oh, maybe it won't make sense because if these images of all these different sexual orientations are kind of like in a blob per se, it wouldn't really make sense. You wouldn't get what each image is unless I like described it out at every image. So I just decided to do it this way, but this is the way I did it. And like I said earlier, the main themes were the different sexual orientations I only did 7, and I'll go more descriptive about what each one means and stuff like that. But I researched all of them and then just chose 7 out of all of those. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is asexual lesbian. So it's asexual people that can also identify as lesbian but also experience any sexual romantic attraction towards other people. That one, if you just kind of, note asexual and note lesbian, you'll kind of get what that means. But I really thought all of the different flags were really cool to add just to see that. And then I just had a little image next to it with both girls. The next one is queer, which this is a more known one. A lot of people know this one, and that was one of the ones that I was more familiar with, but I wanted to do it anyways. Queer are people who are not heterosexual or not cisgender, and I decided to include this picture because I thought it was a cool representation of all the different people, race, background, all that, just a different, The next one, sapiosexual, I think is how you pronounce it. But those are people who are attracted to another person's intelligence and believe that this behavior is the most attractive quality. So instead of looking at the way somebody, looks or personality per se, it's their intelligence, which is part of the personality, I guess you could say. But that's what I thought this image was really cool to describe that. And another one that I decided was pansexual, which is sexually or romantically attracted to people regardless of their sex or gender. So this is just kind of you're attracted to anybody. It does not have to be around their female, male, whatever they identify as. Polysexual, which is another more known one than some of the others might be. This is sexually or romantically attracted to more than one gender. And then when I think of this one, I think of poly, you may have heard of poly relationships, which is it's more of an open relationship. The ace spectrum, I never really heard of this before. You may have, but I didn't personally. But it's have little interest in having sex, even though they desire emotional, intimate relationships. So this means, you can be ace and you can be you like somebody, but you don't necessarily want to have sex. You just value that emotional desire per se as well. Masexual is pretty, obvious, but you're only attracted to men. So that one's pretty obvious. So here's just a little picture of the process of the project. So, I was able to research each sexual orientation and kind of find the flags. I thought that, and then you just downloaded it, printed those out, got a poster, and then just added them all together and just wrote, what each one was. This one it was not too difficult to make. I just trying to think of the type of pictures I want to add, and I came up with a picture that kind of described the word, and then the flag I thought was really cool as well. So what did I learn? I learned a lot about all these different sexual orientations I had never heard of before. I knew what most of these terms meant, but I never actually yeah, I never really heard the term that it meant, so I knew what a lot of these things meant. Um, so obviously my project relates to the classes because we talked about this in section, I think our week 4 or 5, I can't remember which one it was, but this one really stood out of all of the units. I found really interesting and I didn't know a lot about.